whispers beneath Coldwater Bridge. They called it Coldwater Bridge, though no one remembered exactly why. There wasn't a river anymore, just a shallow stream that cut through a dense patch of trees on the outskirts of Ashgrove, a small town nobody visited unless they had to. The bridge itself was old, made of steel and weathered planks, the kind that creaked when you walked on them, even on dry days. I never would have gone near the place if it weren't for my younger brother, Dean. He'd gone missing. It had been 2 days since anyone had seen him. No notes, no messages. He wasn't answering his phone. It wasn't like Dean to just vanish. He was the kind of person who texted "be there in 10" even if he was just 5 minutes away. The police had done their sweep, but small-town resources run thin fast. They checked his apartment, his work, even the gas station he stopped at for energy drinks. Nothing. They filed a report and moved on. But I couldn't, so I started asking around. One of Dean's friends finally confessed something strange. He mentioned hearing something out near Coldwater Bridge, she said. Said he kept having dreams about it, like someone was whispering to him from under the planks. I thought it was stupid at first. Dean had always loved scary stories. Maybe he was just playing around, making something up, but if he was out there, if there was even a chance, I had to see for myself. I went to Coldwater Bridge that night. I don't know why I waited until dark. Maybe part of me didn't want anyone else knowing I was taking it seriously. Maybe part of me was ashamed, or scared, or both. The walk through the woods was quiet. Unnaturally quiet. No bugs, no wind. Even the stream below the bridge was still. I shone my flashlight across the beams as I stepped onto the wood. They groaned beneath my feet, soft and damp. The air smelled metallic, like wet rust and something else, something sweeter and rotting. I called out, "Dean?" Nothing, just the creak and my own breathing. I stepped further, almost to the center of the bridge when I heard it. A whisper. It wasn't behind me or beside me, it was beneath. I crouched down and aimed the light through the cracks between the planks. There was water, barely moving, and rocks. But then something shifted. A ripple, a shadow. And then I heard my brother's voice. "Liam?" I froze. My name, spoken just once, but I knew it. Knew his voice. "Dean?" I dropped to my knees, pressing my face close to the boards. "Where are you? Say something again." A long silence followed. Then, "Come down." I jerked back. The voice had changed. It still sounded like Dean, but wrong, like someone trying to imitate him. Almost perfect, but there was something too smooth, too even. No fear, no urgency, just a calm, eerie invitation. "Come down. I want to show you." My instincts screamed to run, but I didn't. I told myself it could still be him. Maybe he was trapped. Maybe he was hurt. There was a narrow slope at the far end of the bridge that led down to the stream. I climbed down with the flashlight shaking in my hand. The trees down there looked different, taller, twisted. The sky above was darker than it should have been, like the stars had dimmed. As I reached the water, the beam of my flashlight flickered and died. Great. I crouched low, listening. "Dean? Are you there?" At first, just silence, then splashes, soft ones, from behind. I turned, and standing on the far side of the stream was a figure. Pale, thin, unmoving, watching. My heart slammed into my ribs. "Dean?" The figure twitched. Not stepped, twitched. Like a puppet. "No," it said. Its mouth didn't move, but the voice was in the air, around me, in me. I stepped back. The thing stepped forward, then it smiled. Its mouth opened too wide, its skin stretched too thin. And beneath the pale surface, I saw shifting, squirming things, worm-like, twitching under translucent flesh. I turned and ran. Branches whipped my face as I scrambled up the slope and back onto the bridge. My foot caught a plank, and I nearly fell, but I didn't stop. Not until I was back in the woods. Back on the path. Only then did I turn around, and the figure was standing at the mouth of the bridge, still smiling. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. I stayed up reading everything I could find about Coldwater Bridge, old news reports, forums, obscure blogs, and I found things. Mentions of disappearances spanning decades, people who went missing after reporting strange dreams, whispers, people seeing dead loved ones standing beneath the bridge, always at night, always alone. There was one post, dated 10 years ago, that stuck with me. My cousin drowned near Coldwater Bridge in '97. He was 6. But 2 years ago, I saw him there. He looked the same clothes, same haircut. He said, "Come down. It's okay now." I ran. I think if I hadn't, I wouldn't be writing this. The next morning, I went back to the bridge with the sheriff. He didn't want to go, said the place gave him the creeps. But I told him I thought I saw Dean down there. I lied, said I saw him alive. That was enough to get him moving. We searched the stream, the woods, nothing. But then we found something caught in a root along the bank. Dean's jacket. His phone was still in the pocket, waterlogged, dead. But it was his. They ruled it an accidental drowning. But I know better. I know what I heard, what I saw. It's been 2 months now. Dean's funeral was closed casket. No body was recovered. Sometimes late at night, I dream of the bridge, of standing there and hearing his voice again. Not just a whisper, full conversations. He tells me how happy he is, how peaceful it is beneath. He asks me to come see for myself. Sometimes I wake up standing at my front door, keys in hand, shoes on, ready to go. And the worst part? Lately, the voice is getting better. It doesn't just sound like Dean anymore. It feels like him, like it knows exactly what I want to hear. The bridge that shouldn't be. My name is Mark, and I work as a freelance photographer. I travel a lot, chasing forgotten places and abandoned towns to capture their stories through my lens. Last summer, I found myself deep in the Pacific Northwest, near a patch of dense woods that seemed to swallow the sun by midday. It was there I stumbled upon something I still can't explain. I was driving along an old logging road when I saw it. A narrow bridge spanning a small creek. But the bridge looked wrong, not just old or worn, but as if it didn't belong in this place. The wood was too fresh, the metalwork too polished for a bridge in such a remote area. It was like a pristine portal in the middle of a forgotten forest. I stopped the truck and grabbed my camera. As I stepped out, the air felt different, thicker somehow, colder despite the summer heat. The birds stopped chirping. Even the breeze paused. Curiosity pushed me forward. The bridge was about 30 feet long, just wide enough for one car, maybe two if they were careful. It was suspended over a creek that babbled quietly below. I walked onto the bridge and took some pictures, trying to catch the strange glint in the wood grain. As I reached the middle, a chill ran down my spine. I looked down into the water, expecting to see rocks or fish, but the surface looked oily like black glass. And for a moment, I thought I saw something move beneath it. I shook my head and kept shooting photos, telling myself it was just a trick of the light. Then I heard footsteps behind me. I whipped around, but no one was there. The trees swayed gently, leaves rustling. I laughed nervously. Get a grip, Mark. I kept moving forward, reaching the other side of the bridge. But something felt off. The woods on the far side looked different. The trees were thicker, older, and the sky above was dimmer, as if night was falling early. My watch said it was still just after noon. I felt a sudden urge to turn back, but the way I came looked unfamiliar. The path had vanished, only dense forest now where the road should have been. Panic settled in. I tried to retrace my steps, but no matter which way I turned, I was back on the bridge. The planks beneath me creaked softly, but the creek below had changed. Now it was a slow-moving black sludge, reflecting nothing but shadows. I called out, "Hello? Is anyone there?" No answer, only the sound of water dripping somewhere, echoing oddly. Then I heard it again, footsteps. This time clear, deliberate, heavy footsteps on the wood behind me. I spun around. A man stood there watching me. He was tall, thin, and dressed in old-fashioned clothes, a suit that looked like it belonged to the 1920s. His face was pale, with sharp features, but his eyes were the most unsettling, black, deep pits that seemed to swallow the light. "Lost?" he asked in a voice smooth as silk. I swallowed hard. I think so," he smiled, and it was the kind of smile that didn't reach his eyes. "This bridge doesn't like visitors." "What do you mean?" I asked, heart hammering. He stepped closer, the wood groaning under his feet. "It's a gateway, you see, between here and somewhere else." I took a step back. Somewhere else? A place forgotten, where time folds and people get stuck. I looked down. The black water beneath the bridge seemed to ripple and faint faces appeared, twisted, screaming faces that vanished as soon as I blinked. "Let me help you," the man said, extending a cold hand. "Come with me. You won't find your way alone." Something inside me told me to run, but my feet were frozen. I looked for my camera, but it was gone. I tried to call my phone, but there was no signal. I gripped the railing, breathing hard. "I don't want to go anywhere with you." He laughed softly. "You don't have a choice. Suddenly, the air thickened. The bridge shook, the faces in the water multiplied, their screams rising in a dreadful chorus. The man's smile stretched impossibly wide. I closed my eyes and tried to yell, but no sound came out. When I opened them again, I was somewhere else entirely. The bridge was gone. Instead, I stood in a foggy wasteland, twisted trees reaching out like clawed hands. The sky was a dull, sickly gray. And everywhere I looked were more faces, some pressed against invisible barriers, others wandering aimlessly, lost. I called out again, but only silence answered. Then I saw him, the man from the bridge, watching me from the distance. He raised his hand, beckoning. I knew then the truth. The bridge wasn't just a bridge, it was a trap, a lure, a gateway to a place where time stopped and souls were imprisoned. I don't know how long I've been here. Minutes, hours, days. Time feels meaningless. Sometimes other people appear, strangers who don't remember how they got here. They look as lost and terrified as I feel. They whisper about the bridge, about a way out, but no one has ever found it. I'm writing this now on an old piece of paper I found, hoping that maybe somehow this message will make it back to the world outside. If you ever find yourself near Coldwater Bridge or any bridge that feels wrong, turn back. Don't cross. Because once you step on it, the path disappears and you become part of the endless lost. And if you hear footsteps behind you, don't look back. The Last Crossing. There's an old bridge on the outskirts of Milltown, a small, forgotten place where the fog clings to the ground like a living thing, and the nights stretch on forever. The bridge itself is nothing remarkable, a rusty iron span crossing the slow-moving Blackwater Creek. It's been there for nearly a century, held together by time and a few stubborn bolts. Everyone who lives near it knows the stories. Not the stories told in daylight or around campfires, but the whispered warnings passed quietly between neighbors. They say the bridge isn't just old, it's hungry. My name is Earl, and I moved to Milltown 2 years ago. At first, the bridge was just a landmark, a place I'd drive past on my way to work. Nothing special. But soon I began hearing strange things. From my porch on certain nights when the wind was just right, I could hear a rhythmic creaking, almost like footsteps pacing back and forth. Then came the disappearances. It started with a young man named Derek, a local who vanished without a trace after a late-night visit to the bridge. Then a dog walker, an elderly woman out for a stroll, a couple driving home from a party, all gone. No bodies, no clues, just silence. The town whispered about the bridge, saying it took them, that those who crossed after dark never returned. I didn't believe it. I'm a skeptic by nature, a city kid who moved here for the quiet and the cheap rent. But curiosity gnawed at me. One evening, I decided to see for myself. I parked my car at the edge of the road, just before the bridge, and stepped out. The night was thick with fog, the kind that muffled sound and blurred shapes into ghostly shadows. I took a flashlight and walked onto the bridge. The metal beneath my feet groaned softly. The air smelled damp, cold, and a little metallic. About halfway across, the fog thickened, swallowing the light. I stopped. That's when I heard it, a soft humming, low and melodic, coming from the far end. It was beautiful, almost hypnotic. Compelled by the sound, I walked forward step by step until I reached the middle of the bridge. There, through the mist, I saw a figure, a woman. She wore an old-fashioned white dress, stained and torn, her long dark hair hanging wet and tangled. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dark. She smiled at me, an eerie, knowing smile. "Welcome," she whispered, her voice like a breeze. "I've been waiting." My heart pounded. "Who are you?" "I'm the keeper," she said, "the bridge's keeper and its hunger." I wanted to run, but my feet felt glued to the iron grating. The humming grew louder, filling my mind with visions. I saw faces, dozens of them, trapped beneath the bridge in the swirling dark water. Their eyes pleaded, mouths opening in silent screams. "They come here because they can't find peace," the keeper said. "They crossed when they shouldn't have. Now they're part of the bridge, and the bridge wants more." I struggled to pull free, but a cold hand gripped my wrist. It was wet, slimy, and ice cold. Panic surged through me, but the keeper's smile never wavered. "You must choose," she said. "Cross fully or turn back and forget you ever came." I didn't want to forget, not after seeing what I'd seen. But the weight of the cold hand was dragging me forward, toward the far edge of the bridge where the fog grew darkest. Then I remembered my phone in my pocket. With a desperate move, I flicked on the flashlight and shone it directly at the keeper's face. Her smile faltered, and the grip loosened. I tore away and ran. I didn't stop until I reached my car, heart racing and breath ragged. I locked the doors and drove home, shaken and silent. For weeks after, I avoided the bridge, refusing to speak of what I'd seen. But the bridge didn't forget me. One night, I found a small, wet stone on my doorstep. It was smooth, black, and cold to the touch. Along with it, a note scrawled in the same delicate handwriting as the keeper's. The hunger never sleeps. Since then, I've heard the humming at night outside my window. Sometimes the fog rolls in thick and low, and I swear I can see a faint silhouette on the road, a woman in white waiting for her next crossing. I moved once more after that, to a different town, a different state, but no matter how far I go, the bridge's hunger follows me. I never cross bridges at night anymore. And if you're ever near an old bridge in the fog, listen for the humming, because the keeper might be waiting for you too.